Okay, L'chaim, everyone. I want to dedicate tonight's Farbrengen, since it is Parshas Lech Lecha. We learn about the first Jew, Abraham, a very dear, close friend of mine, passed away a couple of months ago. Avi Piamenta, some of you know him. He performed at my wedding. We did many events together. We did many Purim parties. We did a Purim party for about 1,000 soldiers in Beersheba one time, in the south of Israel. We did a Purim party in the old city of Jerusalem. We brought the first mitzvah tank in over 25 years. We did two Purim parties over here, block parties down the street from my house. We did a lot of events together. And he passed away a few months ago. And he is by far one of the most special, amazing people I've ever met in my life. And we could bring more about him a little bit later, but I want to dedicate tonight's Farbrengen to him, to Abraham ben Yehuda. And I know he should, his name is Neshama Shtevin Aliyah, and he's making a big storm for Mashiach up in Shemayim. And he'll be back in his physical body immediately with all our other chavre. And L'chaim L'bracha. So I want to talk a little bit about something that I think most of you guys in this room could relate to. Fake IDs. Is anyone familiar with the world of fake IDs? Okay. So, Dov and I, besides looking like altakakas to you guys, I won't get offended if, guys, like, sometimes they see me, like, with one of the center guys, like, oh, is that your son? Or when they say, is that your grandson? That's when it's like, all right, dude. That's a little bit over the line. So we have an advantage over you guys, that we grew up in the age of no internet, no video recording, no huge computerized databases. We were able to get away with so much crap because there was no one to catch you, because there's no videos. There's no recordings of everything. Like when I was in high school, I used to get in trouble all the time. I was a troublemaker. That's my parents in the home used to fight a lot. We had not the greatest. God bless them. They should live and be well. They did their best, but there wasn't a lot of like warm, positive vibes or energy in the home. It was just a lot of aggravation and fighting. So I was always, causing trouble. That's why I found my way in the world, made friends. So when I was in high school, I used to get in so much trouble, man. It was insane. And I knew the girl who was the vice president, who was in charge of the conduct in school. It was her secretary, Mrs. Fernandez, Narvita. And every time I'd get in trouble, it didn't happen all the time. Once every few months, I get sent out to the principal's office. And Mrs. Fernandez used to look at me. She goes, "Have you been in my office before?" I'm like, "No, ma'am. First time. You're looking familiar." I'm like, "Well, there's 3,000 kids in the school, ma'am. A lot of us look familiar. Let me check the file." So what does she have a file? She has this like old school file cabinet with like manila folders. You guys don't know from this. With like handwritten papers. When someone got in trouble, it was like a pink slip. They wrote them up and they put them in these little folders. There's no computers. And so every time I got in trouble, my friend used to go into her desk and rip up the paper. So she'd go and look in the file, look at my name. No, there's nothing in here. I swear you're in the office. "Ma'am, I'm very sorry, Miss Lucas." We did this for like 3 years. She had no concept. Anyway, so one of my friends in high school, we figured out we wanted to go to clubs, and you couldn't get into clubs because we were 15 years old and 16 years old. And the clubs, you had to be 18 years old. So what did we do? This is before computerized stuff, right? So we used to take IDs. We get other people's IDs that kind of looked like us, and we take X-Acto knives. You know what X-Acto knife is, right? And we take them and we take a little X-Acto knife and cut out the little plastic that was guarding the paper inside and cut out the number and like print another one in the same font and stick it in there and cover it and laminate it. No one had any idea. So we used to go to this club, and it was funny. One time, one of my friends, he actually got in a lot of trouble. He got pulled over by the cops and he was drunk. So they asked him for his ID. Didn't want to show. He was like, "Give me your ID." And he started opening his wallet, and there was two IDs there. There was his real one and the fake one. And he like skipped over the fake one real quick and gave him the real one. The cop goes, "Well, what was that right there?" He was like, "Oh, nothing, officer." He pulled it out of his wallet. He goes, "Ha, ha, ha. What do we have here?" And he goes to his car, types a couple things in, comes back. He's like, "Son, you live in the middle of the weeds." It's like fake address, fake stuff. Anyway, so we used to make these fake IDs, right? And when we were in college, we got some IDs from Ohio State. We went to college in Tampa, University of South Florida. We got IDs from Ohio State. And in Ohio State, they said like they were much easier to copy. So we had these like giant boards. People used to take Polaroid cameras. You don't know what those are, where the film comes out automatically. And we'd like have an artist draw the background for a while. Like the bouncer in the club's like, damn, there's a lot of people from Ohio here this year. I'm like, yes, sir. They're packing up the university. Anyways, we used to go to this club, Dove, I'm sure has heard of it, called Fire and Ice. Yeah. So Fire and Ice was like the club, like when we first started partying, it was like really the beginning of the club scene on South Beach. Like, was it on South Beach, but that whole vibe, like it was a freak show. So we wanted to go to this place called Fire and Ice, and we started making these fake IDs, and we got into Fire and Ice. And whatever, we did stupid as shit as kids, as I'm sure some of you guys did. We were in high school, we were 15, 16 years old, and we used to break into cars. Maybe some of you guys didn't do this. You did it. We used to break into cars, we used to steal car stereos, then we started breaking into houses, then we started selling like stolen stuff. We did stupid crap to make money and whatever. It was a rush. It was for the rush, right? I remember we got chased and shot at one time from some guy stealing some guy's car stereo. It was a couple close calls. Anyway, so I started washing cars when I was 11, so I graduated to this. Anyways, we're in Fire and Ice one time, and I had this. I'm sure you guys have groups of friends, right? You got like a clique, you got your crew, whatever. Hang out, whatever. 2, 3 guys, you hang out together. We had a crew together of guys. I don't know, it was 5, 6 guys, 7 guys, and some of these guys were really nuts. You know, they were like on the football team, and everyone was taking steroids, and they were like smashing their helmets into the walls, like. And that's when I realized my friends were like, okay, we had fun together, we did stupid stuff, but that night like changed my whole perspective on my group of friends because we're in Fire and Ice, and they used to fight a lot. And someone like looked at this guy wrong, one of our friends, or someone said something to someone wrong, and all of a sudden I see this guy look over and turn to him, and he smiled at him like this, and he was wearing cowboy boots, and the tip of his cowboy boots he had shaved sharpened razor blades, like he had razor blade like a point, like right underneath the boot. So you have the underneath the boot, the sole of the boot, and they had it professionally installed. It was like a dual edged. It was kind of something like, see this switchblade here? See, it's pointed to Tonto point. So it was kind of like that in a stainless steel razor blade on the bottom of the guy's boot. This is one of our guys, one of our crew. And all of a sudden, the guy started beating up this other dude, and he fell to the ground. And I'm standing there just talking to some girl, like laughing like this. And I watched this guy start repeatedly kicking this guy in the face with his boots, with these razor blades. And I'm sitting there like, holy shit, what is Johnny doing, dude? And like in 2 seconds, this guy's face looked like chopped meat, like raw chopped meat. It was bloody. You couldn't see it. He's like, motherfucker. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit. What, dude, what are you, like, the guy went completely lost it. Like, you ever seen the movie Fight Club? Yeah. You know the time when he like loses it? He's like, what's up, psycho boy? Like the guy went just raised and he's kicking. And next thing we know, they grabbed me all. We ran out. Cops came. We got out of there. Nothing happened. But like, that guy wasn't in our crew, so we don't know what happened to him. Nothing happened on our side of the fence. But yeah, you're right. Something happened, but not to us. I have no idea. For sure. And the next day we were in school, and like these guys were a little older. I think I was 15, and they were 16, 17. They were like seniors. I was my first year. And I see these guys in school. They're laughing, joking around like nothing. And that's when I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, I thought I knew like my buddies here, like they were just some fun, like kind of fun, wild guys. I'm like, these guys are out of their freaking minds, you know, like, and it really scared the crap out of me because I never saw. They actually have a little bit of evil in them. A little bit. It was frightening, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got an extra spray in there, and this wasn't like, you know, something wrong. How can I comfort you? It's like, you know, you're like yeah, you don't even go near him. Like, hey, what's up, man? It's like you're scared to death. This guy's gonna like snap on you or something. It was a very sobering moment. So, you know, I have a question for everyone. There's someone named William James, who's one of the fathers of modern psychiatry, and he made a statement which there's been thesis papers written about this. It's a fundamental point of all psychology, and it's been debated, it's spoke about, and he said a very simple quote. He said, a person has as many social personalities as people he associates with. Meaning that there's no such thing as a self. Every single person has multiple selves that interact with every different person in your life. You interact differently with your parents, with your friends, with a teacher, with a girlfriend, so you're different people all the time. And there's no true self. It's just as many people are in your circle of influence, that's how many different selves you have. How many different...
So I'm Donnie, where he speaks differently.
He's more of a psychopath, dude. I don't know if that's what... You think that's a true or a false statement?
It's just how we speak to people, you know.
Or Jasmine find out. She's really good at it.
Huh?
It's an opportunity to find out.
No, I don't mean him.
So they understand better.
No, but this guy, we don't want to even mention this guy's name because he's a makshamam. But what do you guys think about this statement? That question. Was William James, one of the fathers of modern psychology, right or wrong? Do we have as many selves
I would say,
as
what
people?
about isn't yourself who you are when you're by yourself?
According to him, that's only one self.
Yes.
Yeah.
True, yeah. When you're around your friends, you're still you.
You think it's wrong? Why?
I would say there's definitely truth to it, but probably. You don't trust anything
They're all crazy, mate.
It's true.
Yeah.
People they said like Harvard did a study back in the day.
When Harvard was a respectable university. That study now you can wipe your ass, man. But yeah, go ahead.
They sent some people to a psych ward and they wanted to see how long it takes them to figure out that they're normal. And they just never got out.
Yeah. They made a movie about that in the 50s called Shock Corridor. Black and white movie about some reporters that get sent in to interview crazy, and they lost it as well.
No, I mean, not that you lost it. They couldn't get out because there was no way to prove that they were normal.
Oh, I got it.
So Harvard went there and they thought, these guys normal. Oh, you know what? Send us another bunch. So Harvard was like, yeah, we can sit the whole ball. Like, the whole group, and we want you to figure out who's normal. Harvard came back and said, we think we know who it is. You know we didn't send anyone. This stuff resonated around psychiatry.
I believe it. So we can't say that the entire profession is quackery. Obviously, there is some foundation and basis of truth in it, but so
I would say for sure for different friend groups, most people have different phases. If you're gonna if you're in school, you're gonna go talk to the dean and the administration, you have a much different phase. If you're gonna go talk to all your boys in the fraternity, much different phase. If you're gonna go talk to these girls or your friends in the school club or the kids you have a class project with, you're going to slightly alter your personality very slightly. And I would say the goal of life is to just always really be more even, not to have to change it so much, but you do have to change your personality slightly for different circumstances. Okay. I would say something true.
Yeah, Barrel, nice. So the in theater or movies, they have a term called persona. It was coming back from ancient Greek theater when they used to have, you heard of all the different gods and things like this, and they would put on plays. And sometimes the same actors would play multiple roles with masks on. And it was called persona. So the real true meaning of a persona is a mask. So we say to someone what is their persona? Like kind of what Beryl was saying, the persona possibly changes based on who you are because you're wearing a different mask. But does that mean that yourself is changing, or you're just kind of putting on a costume? Or are you actually a different person, and then you're a different person when you're with different people? So, yeah, for them. I went through a lot of personas in my life. And for better or for worse, whenever I was involved in a particular persona, I had to figure out every aspect of it, how it worked, what made it tick, figure things out, kind of like a scientist, like an investigator. And then once I figured it out, how to be the best at it that I could be, to be successful in whatever persona was. So that took me in different directions. When I was hanging out with my friends who I just mentioned before, that time the persona was just to be crazy. Like there was like, I don't think it's changed. It's still now also, right? Y'all don't give it up, man. Like, whoever tells you they don't give a F, that means they care a lot.
But I would say what's changed is nowadays you don't see 15, 16-year-olds like as crazy because like I think their growth looks like stunted almost.
Sure.
Like stuff you know what I mean?
They emasculated them. They cut their balls off with too much soy.
I think so, honestly. Something like that.
I think in the hospital while they're under, they replace their balls with prosthetics.
At least one of them. At least one of them. Marbles.
Yeah, marbles. Anyways, so for a while it was just being crazy. It was trying to like there was something, I don't know, fun. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. Everyone has different things that they went through. Someone went to sports. That was my thing. But the craziness with these guys started turning really violent. When I was turning 16 years old, one of my closest friends was found murdered. He was 17 years old, and we were selling fake IDs, involving stolen credit cards, breaking into cars, things like this. This guy was selling cocaine. I'm not talking about grams. I'm talking about kilos, large quantities of cocaine. Real, yeah, heavyweight. He was 17 years old. He was an orphan. Asking for a friend. So they found that he had a brand new Corvette, and they found, I'm sure I've told you this guys before, he was stuffed in the hatchback of this Corvette with like 25 machine gun holes. And they found a safety deposit box with 2 guns wrapped in saran wrap and about 100 grand in cash. And you're talking about 40 something years ago. It's probably closer to $1 million now. The guns you wrap a gun in saran wrap, so if you kill someone, there's no fingerprints. You could toss it, and there's no marking on the guns. And he was a very close friend of mine. He was 17 years old. And
like you don't have 17-year-olds doing that anymore. Is what I'm saying. You know you don't.
No.
They don't exist.
No. They're playing video games about it.
Literally, they're
At the time, 17-year-olds, they look like 35-year-olds.
I have 17-year-olds doing that.
So it was a very sobering moment where I decided at that point, like, I don't want to be part of this. But money was good. My family didn't have money. They wound up divorcing. A lot of our home issues were over money. My dad lost his job at one point in time and had to use the family savings because there's a tremendous amount of stress on the family, a lot of fighting, and ultimately part of the reason for a divorce. And I vowed that I would never be in that situation. And so I was always a hustler, looking for ways to make money because it wasn't just about like showing off or being cool. It was survival because I watched my parents' marriage collapse and my dad go into depression because he lost his job. So money meant the opposite of that, like survival, way to, thrive, get whatever you need. So I was always a hustler. I started working when I was like 11, 12 years old. I used to sell flowers. I've washed dishes. I've washed cars. I've done every possible job you could ever imagine. I've been a clerk. Mayor, stop gambling, please.
It's hustling, bro.
Yeah, it's hustling. So I had this thing in and I was making money, but at this point I'm like, all right, this has to stop. This guy got murdered. That's like serious. That's not like your dad catches you and grounds you, huh? Yeah. It's not like your mom and dad catch you, you get like grounded. You know what I mean? This guy's dead. It's like game over. It's like there's no next round, right? It's like finished. So what we wound up, I wound up getting into college. It was a complete miracle because I didn't have very good grades. I didn't get into the best college, but whatever. I started finding a way that I could possibly make a career without doing illegal things. But college was freaking boring, but it was like 4 years. And I was too into partying at that point in time. And I was barely going and I was running out partying. And then I was always had in my mind, my parents used to tell me a lot that I should be a lawyer. I was good at arguing. I was good at debating people. And it just so happened that my parents' close circle of friends, cousins, best friends, I mean, like the 4 or 5 people they were closest with were all lawyers and they were all rich. And my parents were not. And there was all conversations. They got a new car, they got a new house. And it was just like, we don't have it and we're not happy. And they have it, they're happy. So, son, you need to be a lawyer. We don't want you not happy like we weren't happy. And it became a push in my family for me to become a lawyer. They I'm sure had good intentions. They wanted me to prosper where they did it, but I had some resentment for it because I wasn't given the choice to do what I wanted to. It was something that was pushed on me. Anyways, but that came much later on because it was I'm like 4 years of college and 3 years of law, 7 years. That's like a prison sentence, dude. It's like you can't expect me to spend 7 years studying my ass off and getting good grades and then going to law school and taking all these exams. I'm like, no freaking way. There's got to be a way to make money that's not as dangerous as selling drugs. And then I started going to the gym, and everyone was into taking steroids. So steroids at the time were not a class 3 drug. It wasn't a felony. It wasn't as serious as like cocaine trafficking. And I went to college in Tampa. And Hulk Hogan, who just passed away, you guys ever heard of Hulk Hogan? Yeah, I used to sell him steroids. So in our gym in Tampa, it was a Gold's Gym in Tampa. All the big wrestlers. This is when wrestling started. This was when it was just the WWF. There's no E's or C's or D's. There's like a whole alphabet now. It was the WWF, and it was like Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, the Anvil. Doug probably heard some of these guys. They all worked out at our gym in college, and they were all juiced out of their minds. I'll show you guys a picture of after when I was taking steroids. I was like 205. I didn't have a neck. I used to like walk around like this. I was freaking huge. It was crazy. So everyone's taking steroids. And then one of the guys says to me, he's like, dude, can you get juice? I was like, yeah, I'm from Miami. I can get anything. Like, what do you want? You want a body? You want an identification? You can buy anything in Miami. And he's like, the guy used to supply the steroids to the gym. He got busted. And he flew town. He's gone. No one knows where he is. He's like, totally disappeared, and it's been dry around here for a while, and no one has juice. And like, I don't know any of you have taken steroids besides Dove and I, but if those of you who have or haven't, what happens is it really, yeah. Do you ever Saturday Night Live, Hans and Franz? I don't know if you guys know who that is. Yeah, Saturday Night Live, when it used to be funny before they became political assholes, had this skit called Hans and Franz. These like two German guys, these steroid heads, and they used to stand there, these outfits. We want to pump you up, and everyone was into taking steroids back then. So when you stop taking steroids, you freaking deflate. It's like literally letting an air out of a tire. Yeah, you start going down. Yeah, you maintain your diet, but you shrink, dude. Your muscles shrink, your body like. I've done pretty much every drug there is. Like when you're into lifting weights, steroids is like the best drug in the world. You get in the gym, they're like, you become so strong, dude. You become and it's a rush, and you're pumping. Like I've had 3 shoulder operations. I could barely move my arm because I weigh right now 165. I was 205 of pure muscle, like so jacked up. I pulled my shoulder, totally ripped it out. It was crazy. But anyways, they didn't have steroids in the gym. I said, let me ask my buddy. I went back home to Miami and asked a friend of mine who I got my personal supply from.
Is this how you got into steroids?
Uh-huh. I was already taking it, but I'd never sold them before.
So you were doing it yourself?
Yeah, I graduated from a user to the produce the
This was
the
the
supplier.
Santero guy. The one you said that was
Yeah, Santeria. Yeah,
So
Cuban
you knew where to
Santeria. You remember this story, bro? Yeah. So there's this guy in Miami that I knew from back in the day, and he was from Cuba, and they went to Santeria. Like they were like into all kinds of like weird shit. You know what I mean? And these guys were connected to the Italian mafia and like Colombians. There's some shady characters in Miami. They call Miami the sunny city for shady people. And yeah, that was more Hallandale. So Miami, by the way, is #1 in all of America in every type of fraud that exists: mortgage fraud, healthcare fraud, identity theft, bank fraud. Like, if there's a fraud,
I heard the Indians.
we take the tops, dude. So I went to this guy. I was like, can you get me juice? He's like, yeah, how much do you need? I'm like, I need a lot. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, a lot. He's like, you tell me, I can give it to you. I'm like, how does it work? It's very simple. He's like, I'm gonna give it to you. You're gonna write it down like on the list, and you're gonna come back. You've got 30 days to pay me, or you could say goodbye to your life. You know, like, so dude, it was nuts what these guys had set up. He brought me to this place. Huh? Yeah, like he jokingly serious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Bobby. Towards the end of your life.
Yeah. So you can't imagine the level of sophistication that these guys had going on right here. They had warehouses by Tamiami, by the airport over there. These storage warehouses that like roll up. Yeah, exactly, over there by Paradise Gym. So they're roll-up storage places, and they were refrigerated, and the guys had like dozens of them. What they were doing is they had doctors in South America because steroids are prescribed for legitimate things. Um, Kids who need help with growth, people who have infections. It's a real drug for a purpose. The side effect is it makes you really freaking big, but it's meant for healing things. So these people had doctors in South America, all over South America, that had like 90-day grace period on payment for the drugs. They had, when you do business long enough with certain companies, they give you time to pay. Sometimes you get 30, 60, 90. If you're a customer for years and years, they trust you. They need more time. So they had people working in all the air companies like DHL, FedEx, all these things, and they were making up fake airway bills showing that tons and tons of steroids were leaving Miami from all these drug manufacturers in America and going to all these foreign countries with a 90-day grace period to pay, and they never left the country. They were all stacked up in refrigerated warehouses. So they had 90 days to cover the payments of it, and they were supplying steroids to like a large quantity of America right at that point in time. And so I was like, holy shit, unlimited supply. So, yeah, you don't want to play around. So basically, I had one guy in the gym who was like the guy who was connected to all these other dudes, and I said, listen, bro, here's the situation. Here's how it works. I can get you whatever you want. I told him I get paid on the spot. There's not doing any grace periods. That's for me to pay the other guy. As it's like, here's what it costs. Payment up front. I don't exist. I don't know you. You don't know me. If anyone comes up to you and asks you who I am, you have no idea. It doesn't. As far as you're concerned, I don't exist, because the people that I'm getting this from, I promise you, you do not want to f with. I'm like, it's Colombian mafia. I said, you know what a Colombian necktie is? He's like, I don't know what a Colombian necktie is. Some Italian guy. I was like, okay, well, a Colombian necktie is when somebody talks, the Colombian mafia slit his throat open, take his tongue and pull it out of his throat and yank it out. So his tongue's hanging outside of his throat. It's called a Colombian necktie. It's a reminder, don't run your mouth. The guy's like, okay. And I started supplying steroids to all these. They didn't know what's coming from me, but all these big wrestlers, all these big guys in the gym. And this went on for like a year. And I don't know how old I was. My second year in college, I think I was 18 or 19 years old. I was a young kid, and I was making bank, bro. I was like, bought a new Mustang GT convertible in cash. I don't remember, but you're talking about 35 years ago, So it's a whole different reality. Yeah, you weren't even existent. A lot of money, like tens of thousands of dollars in cash, like yeah, something like that. I really don't remember their numbers, but money was flowing. I was going out. I was paying for things in clubs. I was buying stuff. I remember I came home one time, and my parents, God bless them, they like I said, we did not have like a lot of financial means. This is like right around the time before they got divorced. So to go out to eat in a restaurant was like a big thing. It was like only happened once every few months, and it was when you went out to eat, there was like unwritten rules. No appetizers, no drinks, water, and one dish. Not out of being cheap, they just didn't have the money. So like you can't go in there and be like it's splurging. It was stupid to buy a soda, and it didn't make sense to me because I was like, why are you going to spend $2 on a soda that you could get for 50 cents? I'm like, well, why are you going to spend $12 on a hamburger that you could make for $2? I didn't get the logic, but whatever. Okay. So one time I was home and I was like, come on, let's go out to eat. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll go out to eat. All right, sitting down, we go to the restaurant, and I'm like, let me get it was like Fridays or one of these Bennigan's, one of these like chain restaurants, and I'm like, let me get the egg rolls, the loaded nachos, the deluxe fried, chicken tenders, the potato skins, and I'm like, and my parents are looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, don't worry, I got it. Pulled a stack of hundreds, threw a couple hundreds on the table. My parents were like, where'd you get that money? How did I'm like, I've been selling textbooks. Oh wow, we didn't know that was a lucrative field. I was like, yeah, it's a very popular thing in school. Never underestimate the power of denial. So everything was great, and then I got a phone call one time. I was in a one time my mom was unpacking in my room, taking my dirty laundry out, and she found needles, like steroid needles. They were like an inch and a half long needles like this. and I mean, you used to have to inject them in your ass in the glute right over here because it's the thickest muscle. And you would shoot them in like that. I remember we were kind of jerks a little bit. So my friend was afraid to put, he was scared of needles. So he wouldn't do it. And he's like, you do it for me. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. And he has his hands on the wall. He's like, you have to put your leg back so you don't want to tense up the muscle. It can crack the needle up. So you got to loosen it up. And you got to smack it a couple times so it's loose. And then you put your hands on the wall. Dove, I'm sure this is giving you some flashbacks. He can relate to everything I'm saying. Or he lay down, and so he put his hands on the wall, and he's like, "Please, God," and he's like, listen. And then like it doesn't hurt that bad because they're very sharp. You get it in the first second, and then you don't feel it once it's in the muscle, unless you twitch, and then it hurts really bad if you hit a nerve. So as I shot it, he's like, "Are you done?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's done." He's like, "Take it out." I'm like, "I go to the bathroom, bro. I'll be right back." And I start walking away, and he's like, "What are you doing, bro? Get over here!" He's screaming like a girl. He was so sad. I was such a jerk. I left him standing there with the needle hanging out while I went and took a piss. Like this. That's the kind of friends we were, just screwing with each other all the time. Huh? So, anyways, oh, so she started screaming, "What is this?" And my dad came in, and then one of my dad's, a friend of his was over the house, and he saw the whole thing. He witnessed it, and they found and then found the needles, and they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's nothing." And he's like, "Those are for steroids. What's the matter with you? Look at your son. You can't tell he's taking steroids." He's like, "He blew up like a balloon. How do you not notice this?" And my parents were like, "You taking steroids?" I'm like, no, they're for a friend of mine. It was like a whole big polygon. And I just talked my way out. Yeah, that's what, it was with me. I'm holding it for a friend. Never underestimate the power of denial. Yeah. A lot of times parents, they mean well, but they intentionally don't want to deal with what their kids are dealing with because then they've got to deal with it and they don't know how to deal with it or what to do with it. So let's just pretend it doesn't exist.
It's not even on purpose. Like,
I know it's not on purpose.
Yeah,
It's just unconscious because they don't the conflict, how to handle it. Anyways, so one of the guys in the gym came up to me and he's like, "Listen, bro, I just want to let you know that your name came up on a list." I was like, "What are you talking about?" It was a friend of mine. I'd known him for a while. Like he didn't know about anything that I was doing. Like we hung out and stuff. He's like, "Your name came up on a list." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "There are people that are watching the gym. There's DEA agents in the gym, Drug Enforcement Agency, undercover in the gym." Huh? His father was very close with the sheriff of Hillsborough, the Hillsborough Sheriff's Department. Yeah, no, he wasn't. But Hashem was watching out somehow. He's like, "Your name came up on a list." I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Listen, bro, I'm your friend. This is your business. Do whatever you want with the information. I'm just letting you know your name came up on a list." They're watching the gym. And I was like, "Holy shit." And I started getting a little bit nervous. And I went home that summer. And I got a phone call. I was only supposed to be home for like, it was a couple of weeks between. I was supposed to go in summer session. And I got a phone call. And it was like, "Dude, don't come back to the gym. Whatever you do." They had a bust the other day. DEA came in. They had ski masks on, guys in all black with freaking automatic weapons. They came in and they cleared out the whole gym and they arrested a bunch of people. And I was like, "Okay, thank you." And I hung up the phone. I was shitting bricks, bro. I was so petrified. I mean, I'm 16, 17. No, I was older than that. This time I think it was 19 or 20. And I'm like, I'm going to freaking jail, dude. I was shitting in my pants. You saw the movies Goodfellas, right? Anyone see the movie Goodfellas? Yeah. Every time a helicopter went over me, I literally climbed under the table, on the kitchen table. I was so scared that they were going to come pound on the door. I stayed home the whole summer. Then I went back to school in the beginning of the year, and I went to the gym, and I like walked in like this because I had to work out. There's nowhere else to work out. It wasn't like here. You got LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness. There's one gym, Gold's Gym. That's it. You don't go there, you don't work out. So I went back to the gym, and like this guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, what's up, brother?" The guy who was supplying. He's like, "I've been calling you. I can't get through to you. You know, where you been? You know, beep, whatever it is. Like, I don't know how to reach you, and the place is dry, and we need, you know." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, bro." He's like, "Come on, stop effing around." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "Come on, seriously." I'm like, "Did something happen here the other day? I heard there was like an arrest. Some people got arrested in here." He goes, "Oh yeah, that had nothing to do with us. That was some other people, whatever." I'm like, "What do you mean us? I don't know what you're talking about." And he kept following me around, and I was like, "Dude, get that away from me. Don't talk to me anymore. I don't know what you're talking about. And that was it. And nothing happened. I'm sure he was trying to set me up, 100%. Huh? No, he got arrested. But this is how it works. They arrest someone, and then they say, all right, where'd you get it from? And then where'd you get it from? They don't want the guy selling they want to go up to the food chain, the top. They want the big glory and the big money.
Because if they would have gotten you,
Not only do they want to get you, they want to trap you on something else. So they'll plan this.
if they would have gotten to you, then you would have had to be a rat. And
That's how it goes. Yes.
They work with whips. Like they roll out to him, and then they'll try to entrap him into doing something with an undercover officer or.
Which is what they were doing, I'm sure.
And then they'll manipulate him into bringing him up to the next guy. They'll do the same thing.
Yep.
So they get the big fish. And everyone on the bottom that cooperates is still going to go to jail.
Yeah, but depending. Sometimes it all depends on the circumstances. Anyway, so at that point in time, I was like, I'm done. I'm done doing anything. I didn't believe in God. I don't know what God was. I don't know there was an existence of God, but I knew somewhere, somehow, someone was watching out for my ass because it was too many close calls, and I had to figure out a way that I'm going to make money and not have to deal with this. So I wound up becoming a rap star. Yeah, I was a rapper. I won't tell you the whole story because it's a long story. Save it for another time. Huh? I had a demo tape years ago. I threw it away. I have some pictures of our group. They're called True Colors. I'll try to remember to bring it next time on my phone. True Colors. Yeah, that's right. How do you know? You remember? Beryl remembers. Yeah. So because we were sitting around figuring out how we can make money without having to spend all this time in school. And then I have to go to law school and all these things. So we figured out, and that's when like Vanilla Ice just came out. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Ellie, you know who Vanilla Ice is? Huh? Yeah. If I couldn't hear you, I wouldn't have called your name. No, I heard. So Vanilla Ice was one of the first white rappers. He just came out, and before that, there was only black rappers. This guy came out, he's making tons of money. My buddy calls him up, he's like, yo, we got to rap. I moved to Atlanta, I dropped out of college, and we started a rap group. We spent all this money. At this point, I was 21? 21? Huh? Yeah. And long story short, I wound up in Atlanta in a recording studio. How you doing? And that's when I found out I didn't know how to rap. And that was years later. So my rapping partner actually got arrested for ecstasy trafficking. He spent 15 years in prison. He came out, and a year later, he got sentenced to another 5 years for cocaine bust. At that point in time, my get-rich-quick schemes ended. I wound up going to law school and working really, really hard to become a lawyer. And then when I became a lawyer, I was also trying to find a way to make a lot of money really quickly. Because my dad, God bless him, but he wasn't one who believed in hard work. It was take the easy way, right? The famous line was, we work smart, we don't work hard. I don't know if maybe you guys heard that before. So everything was about shortcuts, angles, how to get the maximum with the minimum, like how you could work the system. I remember the time, yeah. Sure. We don't say questions, you ask them, yes.
What's the history of your parents, their background? Like, they grew up in Florida or did they come from
No,
somewhere else?
good question. So my parents are both from Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, okay.
In Flatbush, but we moved out when I was like 3 or 4 years old. We're not from a religious family, and
But before then, the Holocaust?
my mother's mother. It's a really crazy story, but like my grandmother, my mother's mother, on her side, was also like really into food, like making sure you eat your food, like a typical Jewish grandmother. Eat, right? It's like, yeah, eat. And also money. She was also very into, have to make money. And I didn't, I used to joke around about it, but I found out later on that she had, I think there was 9 or 10 brothers or sisters in Poland. And they had an uncle in the States who had money. And he only had enough money to get 2 of them out from the Holocaust. And my grandmother was one of his favorite ones, and her sister. and they got rescued, and the other 8 got killed in the Holocaust. And so the mindset of money is not for buying fancy cars; it can buy you life and survival. So it became an important thing. So they were both raised very poor. My mother and my father. My mother's side, but they were both from New York.
No, before that you said Holocaust.
Yeah, from my mother's side. My father's side from Russia and Spain. Russia and Spain.
That's where Montes gets the olive from. Is Russia?
Yeah.
Nice olive.
No, you're asking on both sides.
The Spanish gives them
It's really Sephardi.
It,
If you go from the proper interpretation, it goes by the father. So my father's father is aside from Spain, and the mother.
Your father grew up in New York, but his father Spanish, Spain.
Russia, but
Russia.
if you go back to that from Spain,
It
Yeah.
traces back to Spain.
Yeah.
You speak Russian?
nothing.
No, I remember he said the
Yeah.
Spanish.
Even the Alter Rebbe's grandfather was from Portugal.
Yeah. So I wound up realizing after working as a lawyer for a couple of years that a friend of mine told me something that I'll never forget. You can't beat time. We're very impatient. We live in a world where, I have someone that was trying to get in touch with me for a couple of days regarding a legal question, and I think they texted me 25 times. They probably texted Dove another 10, 15 times, and it's like, I don't even answer people like that. Like, I get hundreds of text, emails, phone calls, and tasks that I have to deal with on a daily basis. People think I'm just sitting around just answering texts whenever they come in. Hey, what's going on? How you
I
doing?
texted him back like a doctor prescription.
Yeah, it's like, so we live in a world where we want instant responses, instant gratification, instant money, instant success in everything. And that's not how life works. It's not. Life works in an equation of, it's not very complicated, but it's simple, but it's not easy.
Well, people are impatient.
Huh?
People are impatient.
But there's a reason for that. They don't have to be impatient. That's just where our society has gone recently. But there's a very basic equation in life with everything. You get out what you put in. It's a giant mirror. How you act to other people is how you're going to get acted back to. The way you treat yourself and feel about yourself is the way you're going to feel how you interact with other people. You give out kindness, you get back kindness. You're an asshole, it's going to come back to you. And the amount of effort you put into something is the amount of reward you're going to get. And most people want maximum reward with minimum effort. And it doesn't exist. 100%
Nowadays,
doesn't exist. Right, Yechiel?
Is it wrong to want that?
What? No, I'm saying, given the choice, would you rather have minimal effort and maximum results, or have to have maximum effort for maximum results?
Or minimal results.
Obviously, the first one.
I mean, these days, if you pick the wrong path, there's definitely maximum effort for minimum results.
The outcome is the same on both. Would you rather less effort?
Say it again. What?
The outcome is the same on both sides. Why wouldn't you want
Because
less
the first one's impossible. It's
Correct.
irrational.
No, but given the choice,
Of course, given the choice, you want to get the highest
Right.
return on lowest investment. But the thing is, it's irrational. But to answer Alicia's question, is it wrong? It should. It's actually normalized with TikTok and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's normalized.
it's not wrong to think that way or to want that, but it's wrong to think it's going to happen
Exactly. It's wrong to think it's real.
because it's a fantasy. It's just like the people like, excuse me, do you have a job? I don't need a job. I got scratch-off tickets.
Yeah, scratches.
I'm going to win the lottery. Yeah. So how many people does it work for? And how many people die with nothing, hoping that they were that one? So you got to play the odds a little bit. Right.
Hope can be very dangerous, man. If you're under a bridge scratching tickets all day,
That guy might be happier than
Yeah, but at the same time, if somebody has no hope,
You give me the
can't speak for the guy.
The bread.
much better for someone to have hope than no hope at all.
whiskey.
Yeah, I would rather
Risk.
just play scratch ups and have hope in Hashem, like connection to God,
Hook me up.
on God next one, then obviously like making millions. I hate my life. I think the richest
Thank you.
finance guys jump out of skyscrapers. Like it happens all the time.
you're right.
Chaim.
Money doesn't equate happiness.
There's a joke. It says money doesn't buy you happiness, but it buys you a big enough boat to pull up right next to it.
Also, Mazel, you can work very, very hard and get
That's
enough.
true.
You can get,
Mazel takes place, but we always have to go according to Yechiel. Don't be sorry.
You don't want me.
Be with us. No, I don't mind if you guys talk. Just please go in the other. It's hard for me. I have ADD. I'm not at the level of a certain Rebbitzin in a certain place we went to. ADD, who's yelling at you while you're wearing a pink shirt. You remember?
No, that was me.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
That's I got confused. That's right. Avi was cracking up. And,
I was just shout on for wearing a pink shirt.
no,
didn't do anything.
she was trying to explain something, and Avi and some other guy. You were there. Yeah. Whoa! We're not naming places to name. Anyways, doesn't matter. Point of the matter is, it's hard for me, and I love you. But if you want to talk, just go in the other room or the back. But I prefer you be with us and enjoy the conversation. So we live in a reality that we want maximum results from minimal effort. And I'm telling you, it's a flawed reality, and it may work for 1 out of a million people. So if you want to hope that you're that person, there's a 99.99999% chance that you're not going to be that person. And your life is going to be really freaking empty because you're going to be waiting for a lottery ticket to fall out of the sky and land on your head and say, now I know what I'm going to do. I know how to make my millions. I got an idea. And everyone has ideas. And if the idea does not come into a business plan and a reality, it's just an idea. It's like a fart. It just disappears. There's nothing to it.
Less than a fart because you can't smell ideas.
That's right. But the fart goes away after a while.
I'll say this.
So I started working as a lawyer, and I was trying to scheme my way without working hard.
It's all good, man.
Huh?
It's all good, man.
It's all good.
Yeah, I never watched the show.
You know that?
I never watched it, but I'm familiar with that.
At least one episode.
I'm familiar with that. But yeah, so the first time I had this realization that, someone told me one time, you know who gets lucky? The people who work hard. It's very rare that someone doesn't work hard and gets lucky. It happens. But when people work hard and they're in the right place and the right time in the right situation, right? That's what mazal is. What is mazal? I used this word before. Mazal is 3 letters. Mem, Zayin, Lamed.
What did we hear the other day? The guy said when opportunities are put in front of you, it's not that you shouldn't take them, you should take them. That's the part of the mazel. When you see an opportunity, acknowledge it and take it.
Yeah, that's part of it. So if you look at mazal, right, Mem, Zayin, Lamed, it's we use it as a term, right? Good luck, mazel tov doesn't really mean congratulations. We say good luck. So Mem is makom, Zayin is man, and Lamed is la'asot. Makom is place. Zaman is time. Lasot is doing, action. If you're in the right place at the right time and you know what to do, you get lucky. But if you're in the right place and the right time, but you don't have a freaking clue how to actualize that and make something of it, it's just going to go by you. Or if you're not in the right place or the right time. So it's an alignment. But if you don't know, you could be in a situation where it's, I'm sure it's happened to many of us. It's happened to me many of times where it's like, Jackie Mason, a famous Jewish comedian, has a joke. He says, every single Jew drives by a building in New York and says, I could have bought that building for $4,000 20 years ago, and now it's worth $10 million. It's like, I'm such a schmuck. Why didn't I do it? Like, everyone lives in this, but certain people in those situations know it, and they do something about it. So you have to have a knowledge base in a particular area to be knowledgeable enough to capitalize on those opportunities. And how do you get that knowledge? You have to learn something. You have to do something over and over enough times until you start having a mastery of a subject. You can't have a mastery of anything if you're doing 20 things at the same time or you're not focusing on one thing because you're just kind of living on the surface. That's how I was living for a while. And then I met this guy, a friend of mine, who changed my whole outlook on life. The first time I went to his office, I want to read this to you guys. Maybe you've heard it before, but I read this quote that was on his wall, on his door, and it was just like, wow. Okay. Short, but it's very powerful. Anyone who knows who Vince Lombardi is?
Of course.
No, Lombardi Trophy.
What is the Lombardi Trophy about?
Oh, that's why they know it. My bad. You sure it's NFL?
By the way, Trey's actually at the game.
Yes.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, it's posted. Yeah.
So Vince Lombardi
So does everyone that's watching Thursday Night Football. They all know.
was a football coach. Some claim one of the greatest coaches in not only football history, but in all of sports. He's known to be like, as far as coaches go, like the top of the food chain. This guy had a poster of him on his wall, and I was waiting for him to come into his office, and I started reading this quote, and I got the chills, and I'm going to read it for you.
Wait, you went into this guy's office?
Yeah, the first time I met him. No, a friend of mine.
Friend of yours, and he had this picture of the coach
Yeah,
with some sort of quote.
correct. So this is I wasn't my friend at the time. It was someone I had just met. It was I was a personal injury lawyer, and this guy owned medical offices. He owned like 25 different chiropractic therapy offices, and so it was like a match to do business, refer each other business. And he was like a big guy, like a well known, and someone I was meeting for a business opportunity. And I'm waiting for him, and this is on his wall, and it says very big, what it takes to be number one. Winning is not a sometime thing; it's an all the time thing. You don't win once in a while. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Unfortunately, so is losing. There's no room for second place. There's only one place in my game, and that's first place. I've finished second twice in my time at Green Bay, and I don't ever want to finish second again. There's a second place bowl game, but it's a game for losers played by losers. It is and always has been an American way to be the first in anything we do, and to win, and to win, and to win. Every time a football player goes onto the field to play his trade, he's got to play from the grounds up, from the soles of his feet, with every fiber of his body up to his head. Every inch of him has to play. Some guys play with their heads, and that's okay. You've got to be smart to be number one in any business. But more importantly, you've got to play with your heart, with every fiber of your body. If you're lucky enough to find a guy with a lot of head and a lot of heart, he's never going to come off the field second. Running a football team is no different than running any other kind of organization, an army, a political party, or a business. The principles are the same. The object is to win, to beat the other guy. Maybe that sounds harsh or cruel. I don't think it is. It is a reality of life that men are competitive. To the most competitive games draw the most competitive men. That's why they're here, to compete, to know the rules and the objective when they get in the game. The object is to win fairly and squarely by the rules, but to win. And in truth, I've never known a man worth his weight who in the long run, deep down in his heart, didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline. There is something in good men that really yearns for discipline and hard reality of hard head-to-head work and combat. I don't say these things because I believe in brute nature of man, or that man must be brutal to be combative. I believe in God, and I believe in human decency. But I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, his greatest fulfillment to all he holds dear, is the moment when he has to work his heart off for a good cause and is exhausted in the field of battle, victorious. I read that, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up. And this guy walked into the room, and he looked a little bit like Dove. He was, but larger. I'm sure Dove back in his day would be similar. His head was shaved bald. He's covered in tattoos, head to toe, jacked up like this. They told me this is a successful business owner that has 25 medical offices over the state of Florida. He owns multiple other businesses. He's invested in something. He's a chiropractor. Covered, just like Dove, head shaved bald, pierced eyebrows, pierced everything. So the guy walked in the room, and I've met his assistant before. I had lunch with him, and it's not so easy to get to meet him, but he's like, I told him what I'm there for, and after a few meetings, they trusted me, and I got to meet him. And the assistant said, by the way, don't be alarmed when you meet him. He doesn't look like your typical businessman. Because I thought this guy was going to come on a suit and tie, and he came in with a wife beater tank top with a neck like this, jacked up. And I was like, holy shit. Dude, by the way, what I loved about him is like, we've been in Vegas together, and we've gone into like 5-star restaurants, like, freaking Michigan 3-star, like Michelin 3-star, like fine, like unbelievable restaurants. And he goes in with a crew of like 25, like freaking ogres, bro, like freaking Vikings, man. And these guys are sitting down, and they're dropping 20, 30 grand, freaking ordering the best wine, the best food, and wearing like grub, like mafia dudes. Like, it was nuts. I loved it because he didn't care. He like exactly what it was. And when I met him, he's like, This was his motto. He's like, I don't lose. I don't lose. And he taught me to change my mindset from a maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not going to work. I don't know. How? What if no one buys it? What if no one does it? What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? My mother, God bless her, she should live with me well. She was a worry. They call them smothers, right? Jewish helicopter, right? No, 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 no. They're hovering all the time over you, hovering. You have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm sure, but they're hovering mothers. Beryl got a kick out of that one. Daniel gave a little bit of a laugh over there.
My mom was the same.
Yeah, that's a Jewish mother. Yeah, don't think you're special. That's a Jewish mother. No girl's good enough for her son. Like no work is good enough. Every time I brought a girlfriend home, she's like sizing her up. She just shakes her lips. Like she's like it was like always like And she used to hover, bro. She used to be all and always fearful. I listen. I understand her. Every reason someone acts in a certain way, if you go deep enough, you realize there's a reason causing that act. She was an only child. She was engaged to my father at the time. Her father was like the world for her. She looked up for her father like the greatest person in the world for her, like totally idolized him. And he died of a heart attack. He was like 45 years old, or very young, and he wasn't able to go to her wedding. And like she came home one day, and her mother was screaming and crying, Max is dead, Max is dead. And because of that, my mother all the time was afraid something was going to happen to us. So she's calling us all the time, texting us all the time. Are you okay? Okay. Yes, Mom, I'm okay. Like her and her mother used to talk like 15, 20 times a day. Like it was baffling. She called, hey, how are you? Good. Everything okay? Okay, talk to you later. I was like, what the hell was that? 15 minutes. Hey, what's going on? Oh, yeah. I'm like, you just talked to her 15 minutes ago. What's going on? Nothing. Only 15 minutes has passed. And when she did that stuff with me, I was like, listen, you got to leave me alone. You're driving me freaking crazy. I'm like, I used to write notes and put them on the fridge. Do not call me at work. I'm working. I'm like, drove me batty. Anyway, so I had a very worry, fearful mindset that something's going to go wrong. Something's not going to work out. And guess what? It happened. It's the craziest concept in the world. You're putting that up.
Anxiety out there.
100%.
You're skidding your wheels. There's no traction.
And what people don't realize is that the energy in the world around you that you see and you experience is 100% based on the energy you're manifesting into the world. And if you have a fearful mindset, things that are going to make you afraid are going to come to you. And if you have a worry mindset, and if you think that people are out to get you, people are going to start up with you. It's not conscious. It's unconscious, very, very deep. And the opposite. If you look at the world as like everything's beautiful, everyone's good, we're all here to help each other, that's the energy you're going to get. In the same situation, because that's how energy transfers back and forth into the world. So I had a very low frequency, as they call it. It was a very low energy. It was a very fearful and cautious. And I took chances. When I was younger, I was lunatic. And as I got older, I was very more cautious. And this guy taught me how to change my mindset. I started listening to these positive thinking tapes. It's like, just freaking reprogramming the messaging. Like, understand that every time you say in your brain, it's not going to work, you're building up a thick wall of energy that says it's not going to work.
I also think academically, like, I believe there's something said, but academically, if you're tripping all day and anxious, you're stuttering. You're not speaking clearly. You're not moving. You're
100%.
You're literally like block after block.
You're just spittering.
You're not moving. If you're confident, everything's flowing.
100%.
So
it's called being in a zone. You go into a zone, exactly. You flow.
That fear will just slow you down because every step you're going to be hesitant. No, but if you just go, everything will be better.
Yes, Jack.
Bad things are constantly happening, but when you're worried, you're like thinking about it.
And you make them worse, and you make them worse, yeah.
But they all, like, the same way good things are constantly happening.
Correct.
You don't recognize it.
If you're focusing on the bad things.
Or even, like you don't remember every time, oh, the light was green. But every time when you're in a rush and the light's red, you're like, fuck, every time I get the red light.
Right, 100, so true.
Yeah, but wise beyond your years, wise beyond your years. That's my dog. That's my dog.
There's always this one guy that someone told us, he just stood up and was like fearless, like an animal, just like.
Right, yeah.
The bullets are with his mind. A missile flew over him, and they give him a medal. And goes, why was he able to do that? It's what he projected.
Yeah. And what it's crazy. Dr. Vesel van der Kolk in the book The Body Keeps the Score speaks how it would work with PTSD victims, people who were combat officers, people in wars, people who've experienced real trauma, people getting murdered, killed. He said, and every time that we would talk about their past experiences, there was a combination of just terror and dread, and like part of them like couldn't handle the stress, and part of them just lit up with like joy of because they missed the adrenaline. It empowered them. This is how they. It's a whole different upbringing, but they used to give pump soldiers with freaking drugs, bro. Like Nazi
amphetamine,
Germany, amphetamines, stuff like Nazi. Like, even in America,
even
our troops,
like 2000,
they would
2010,
pump these people up with methamphetamine. They're all kind of drugs to get them in this combat mode. Why do you think so? You know how many soldiers have committed suicide after these things? But whatever. 100%. That's what I'm saying. That's
No, but that mixed with lack of sleep.
right. So I'm getting back to the topic. So the idea is that what happens is when you experience something, the Furbringer is not getting to the point. It's the journey.
Right, no, I hear what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but going back to our get us refocused. Good. So the energy that you're dealing with is what you're manifesting in the world, and you can fix that energy, but it takes work and it takes an awareness. That's the work you have to do. So I had a lot of energy towards negativity or things aren't going to work. So you have to now reprogram your processing. It's literally like reprogramming a machine. If you have 500 times that it's been bad, you have to counter that energy with good. There's therapies, there's deep ways of doing it. But so I started getting into this winning mode from this losing mode. And this guy became like my mentor. And before you know it, like my office like exploded in a good way. I started making so much money. I was blowing up. I became like a freaking baller. I was like buying $20,000 watches, convertible Porsche, buying a condo on the ocean. Like because I changed my mindset.
Did this have anything to do with the book that you said too?
Yeah. But like I don't.
You became fearless?
Yeah,
Like
I became not only fearless. I became focused on winning. I saw the goal before I even did it. It's like when you lock into something, right? It's like I'm sure you guys have all heard it, but it's worth repeating because it's appropriate to the conversation. That Rabbi Mendel Futerfas, when he was in prison, was a big chassid of the Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, who got sent to prison for getting Jews out of communist Russia with fake passports. And he said, you learn something from everyone. Every person you meet, he knew there was a divine lesson for. And he met someone who was a trapeze artist in the circus. There weren't nets in those days. If you fall, you die. It was like no one wanted to see someone fall into a net. That wasn't exciting. The joy was like it's like the car racing, right? You ever like meet a redneck and like what's your favorite sport? Racing, automobile racing.
Bull dodging.
Yeah. Why do you like car races? Crashes. It's like they don't even pull punches, bro. Oh yeah, dude.
That's true.
They want to see flames, cars crashing up.
If you go to the NASCAR cafe, in Orlando, the highlight reels are just all crashes.
Yeah, of course.
People winning.
No one wants to see them going around in circles. It's freaking boring, bro. Yeah, of course.
Iron goes like 95 yards.
Yeah. We're really, in one way, as human beings, we're a little deranged. That's right. Like boxing, mixed martial arts. Like, get out of here! Where are you? You want blood spurting out? And it's like, whoa, dude! Like, yeah, that's true. So the idea is that the energy that you're sending out has to change. So my energy changed into winning energy. I started becoming very successful. And what happened is I found myself very wealthy with a lot of money, a lot of stuff. You name it, the girl, the car, the house, the money, the clubs, the VIP. I'm sure most of you guys have seen my little Chuva clip. If not, I'll post it on the chat. I have a 5-minute clip showing like my previous life. Yeah, juiced up, me at the Playboy Mansion with Hugh Hefner. I mean, I've been around the world. And I started feeling really freaking empty because all of these things that we think are going to make us happy or that we want or that are giving us a drive for these things, a very crazy thing happens. Once you have them, you get this feeling of, now what? Like it's wonderful. Don't worry. I drive an Aston Martin. I love sports cars. I'm not telling someone that these are not important things, but they don't have value. It's something that is just, it's an enjoyable experience, but it doesn't bring value to it because it goes away. And what's worse about it is now you start saying to yourself, all right, well, now what? So it's a different car, a different house, a different way. You're searching more and more and more. And as you go down this path, there's a basic Kabbalistic concept that God assists you in whatever path you choose. It's one of the deep underlying secrets of all of these books of Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Effective People, How to Win Friends and Influence People. All these books have a very basic concept, which they call ether. Ether is like energy, godliness, whatever you want to call it. And ether is like a blank. It's like an ink that you can write with, and this energy can be harnessed for anything you want.
Is that what the Minecraft, they have like Ethernet portal?
I've never played Minecraft, okay, yeah. So there's connections to this with crypto and the energy behind it, but the idea is that when they give you a platform and say, here's how you focus your energy to get this, you do it. It's proven, it works, right? Like, you do this diet, you can lose weight. You work in this system, you can make. So that energy has to be reharnessed, and I was reharnessing it. But the point is, you get to a place where I was empty, didn't feel anything from it, because all these things that you're gravitating to, it's like a child. You can give a child like a ball of gold, a ball of silver, and then a month later, take a roll of toilet paper and drop it, and they're going to run to the toilet paper because it's new, not because it's more valuable. So the thing you have loses its value because it's no longer something that's new or exciting. So you start just chasing stuff. There's 3 levels of consciousness and reality of ways that people are gauging success in the world. The lowest level is by possessions, what you have. These are people whose lives are totally surrounded on what they have. Their car, their house, their watch, their accomplishments, the things that they could point to and say, look at my car, look at my watch, look at my boat, that is the value system. I'm talking about higher consciousness. The higher level of consciousness from there is doing. Now people learn, like, I can do things, I can create, right? Like, you look at some of the richest people in the world, why are they working? How many billions of dollars do you need? They're not spending it. A lot of them have $1 billion and live pretty simple lives. Right. So why are you doing it? Because it's no longer about the possession, it's the doing. It's the game. It's as we learned before, it's the grind, it's the fight, it's the struggle. It's the ability to help people, to give tzedakah, to do good, to whatever you're doing with your money. Now it's a higher level of consciousness. But the highest level of consciousness is being. Just being. When you're at a place of total inner bliss without the need to do anything. When you're by yourself and you have a smile on your face because you're very happy in your own skin. You reach the place where, okay, you can still want to do, you can still want to have, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't make you who you are, and it doesn't bring you joy. And the crazy thing about it is the people who really make impacts on the world, who have people running after them, are the ones who have reached that state of being. The ones who are trying, you ever see someone tries too hard, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But the people who exude a level of confidence of, I'm good for who I am, people are attached to that energy. They want that energy. Everyone wants to reach what we say is a state of oneness, of optimization. So my friend who I'm telling you about, who taught me how to win, killed himself.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Not in one shot. Didn't win that. Over several years, he got addicted to Oxycontins, which is basically pharmaceutical grade heroin. And he started numbing out. Because when your focal point on is winning, conquering, whether you're a soldier, whether you're a warrior, whether you're a coach, whether you're a businessman, if that becomes the thing you hyper focus on in your life, at the expense of everything else in your life, family, friends, calmness, inner peace, you become numb and you make enemies. People don't like sometimes that people are successful. They become jealous. They try to harm people sometimes because they want what they have, or they don't like. Sometimes people step on people's toes. A businessman comes in, opens a business. Someone else says, what are you doing? That's my freaking business. Shit happens. To quote the great philosopher, Biggie, the more money I make, come along, the more problems I see, right? More money, more problems. It's real. experienced it on multiple levels. It's totally real. The Rebbe says that it says in the Gemara that the challenge of wealth is harder than the challenge of poverty. Everyone says, give me that challenge, right? So, so he wound up dying from taking Oxycontins because he had to numb himself from the battle mentality of all the time. It's a war, it's a battle, it's a fight. I gotta win, I gotta be successful. It's exhausting. I did that for a few years of my life. It's freaking exhausting. It's fun for a while, but then after a while, you just feel like you're on a treadmill. There's always someone behind you, right? Like, this guy's trying. Your new competitor opens up. Someone takes one of your clients. Someone screws you over. You're just running and running and running and running, and you feel like you're just spinning in your wheels. And I became numb, and I ultimately went on my journey towards Judaism. But what I experienced, just to tie it together, and then we can ask some questions, is this concept of trying to find my true self. I was looking for a persona, like as we answered with the question, the original question of, do we have multiple personas? Is it true that someone has as many social identities as people they associate with? Or do we have one true self? And these are aspects of it. So every time I entered a new arena in life, whether it was fun, girls, partying, money, I went all in. I was in it to win it. And I didn't stop until I tasted it. I sucked the marrow out of the bone. And then I left myself feeling empty. It's the story. There's two guys, and they study philosophy together in school. And one is Jewish, and one is an Indian Hindu. And they go through learning together about philosophy. They both go to India, and they train and they become gurus. And they go through 15, 20 years of training, and they make it to the top of the mountain, and they become the highest level of yogis, of gurus, and they're in total peace. And the Indian guy smiled there. He said, we did it. And the Jewish guy says, now what? It's like, what happens next? So every journey I went on, I left myself empty with what happened next. So we're appropriately in Parshas Lech Lecha. Abraham said, Hashem says to Abraham, Lech Lecha, go from where? Anyone know what the pasuk is? Ma'artzecha. Oh, very good. To where? To
The land I'll show you.
the land I will show you. So let's break that down briefly according to Kabbalah and Chassidus. The first place, Lech Lecha, literally translates to go to you, for you. Lech is go. Lecha means either in Hebrew to you or for you. It means both. In other words, the journey that God is telling Abraham to go on isn't for God. People have such a distorted concept about the relationship with God. It's like something becomes hard in our life, and we're like, oh, this is the thanks I get? I put on tefillin for a month, I kept kosher, and you make my life hard? I don't need this crap. Screw it. Ooh, you really got God. He's really been out of shape now. The world's not going to run the same. Who are you harming? Harming yourself. You're separating yourself from your energy source. You're removing yourself from who it is that you are. Because ultimately, this journey of Lech Lecha, God is saying, you're going for yourself. Every commandment, every mitzvah, the whole entire Torah is for you. Because I love you. And you have the potential to be way more than you could possibly imagine. You have the potential for blessings of health, of happiness, of family, of wealth, of beyond your wildest dreams. Trust me. Let's go on this journey together. For you, you have to do what I'm telling you to do. I'm giving you the instruction map. I'm giving you the roadmap. But you're going to benefit. Someone says they want to be a billionaire. And they sit down with, pick your billionaire, whoever you want. You can pick Bezos or what's his name? Ellen, you could take, and you ask them, you say, I really want to be a billionaire. Can you give me a map and coach me on how to become a billionaire? And they say yes. And the first thing they tell you, you're like, I don't know if that's for me. I'm not in the mood, or that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not
like 20 hour days. They work 20 hour days.
He's a cyborg. He's not a human being. But the reality of it is that God's saying to us, if you trust me and you go not where it makes sense, not where it's convenient or easy, but where I'm showing you to go, you're the one. You're going to go to you and for you. You're going to yourself. Where's the first place you're going? From your land. Your land is what we call in Kabbalah and Hasidus the Sfirot of Malchus. Malchus means your surroundings, your friends, your 3 degrees of circles around you, of the people you associate with. It means your news channel. It means your social media. It means all the influences of this world around you that have contributed to make you who you think you are. Because really, it all comes back to the same question. Do we have one persona? We have one self? Or do we have multiple selves? Beryl's talking to the whiskey bottle right now, so I'm going to hope that's just a persona and that's not your authentic self. So, we are a giant compilation of everything we've ever learned, everything we've ever seen, everything we've ever heard from 3 distinct influences: our mother, our father, and our surroundings. Family, friends, those are surroundings. Your mother energy, this is your heart, your emotions. Your father energy is your intellect, your brain. God's saying to Abraham, go from your land, your surroundings, your birthplace, your heart, your mother's influences on you, and your father's home. Basically, Zoh and Malchus, Bina and Chochmah. The 4 levels of God's divine name, the tetragrammaton, Yud, He, Vav, He. He's saying, go from what you think you are to, I'm going to show you who you really are. I'm going to show you that you're not multiple personalities, that you don't change based on who you interact with. You can put on different ways of speaking to people. You could react to people differently. But the biggest cause of pressure and stress we have in our lives is when we keep trying to change who we are for every single person in our life. We're trying to make everyone happy or please everyone or do what I want to be, the son, the friend, the brother, the neighbor, who you want me to be. And what happens is we start losing touch with who we really are very fast. And then we start having social anxiety because everyone we interact with in the world is a potential exhaustion of how to act, what to say, how to behave, don't want to offend someone. What if they think I'm wrong? What if they get upset? What if I offend? And we start having all these interactions with people that keep changing to the point where we're like, this is too stressful. I'm just going to live in my computer. I'm going to disconnect from the world and climb into my phone and have electronic friends. And I'm going to live into metaverses and different realities because I don't want to deal with this reality because it's painful, it's hard, it's difficult, it sucks. And it can be all of those things. But God's saying, I'm giving you the solution. The solution is just go out. Say, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going on a journey to find who I am. And I love you, Mom, and I love you, Dad, and I love you, whoever, teacher, friend, whoever who's telling me whatever it is. I'm going on this journey of who I need to be. But that journey has to start with God. Because it is literally impossible, according to any possible system you could imagine, if you're a Jew, to find out who you really are or why you're really here without God being an active part of your life. Because He creates us. He gave us our eye color, our hair color, our DNA, our genetic structure, our mother, our father, our height, our birthplace. He gave it all to us. But we're delusional to think that we get to choose what we want to be, or we get to pick who our wife is, or we get to pick where we're going to move to. God's saying, no, we're partners in this. If you trust me, I'm going to guide you to who you are, to your piece of the puzzle, to your true essence. And that's the place where you can be really happy because you're no longer going to put on masks and try to be someone else or act like someone else. You're going to be exactly who I made you to be. And in that place, your whole social reality changes because now you interact with the world, not from who they want you to be, but from who you are, and they respect you for it. Israel right now, the state of Israel, has a huge identity crisis. They're so concerned with appeasing America, Donald Trump, Europe, this one, that one. Okay, who do you want me to be? What do you want me to say? They've lost their identity as God's chosen people, as God's chosen land. You don't discuss with terrorists. The Rebbe said 1,000,000 times. There's no discussions. You freaking carpet bomb the place. How does Donald Trump, with all due respect to him, he's doing a great job as a president in America, bomb ships that he says there's drug dealers, there's cartels in there, blowing them off the face of the earth because they become drug dealers, but tell Israel you're not allowed to cross a line when Hamas breaks a ceasefire and murders your people. Don't do it, because I made a deal with Saudi Arabia and I made a deal with Qatar, and I don't want to screw up that deal. So you do what I'm telling you to do. And people say, okay. They've totally lost sense of reality. Completely. This is our land. This is our people. You don't tell us what to do. Are we questioning what you're doing? How is it that you're okay to do what you do and don't have to answer anyone? And I can't blame Donald Trump. The Israeli state government perpetuated this lie in their brain that we just, okay, but that's bullshit. They used to make their own weapons. They had capacity to do it. The state of Israel is run by the same deep state, hidden government that's running America. I'm not talking about the soldiers who go to war with the heart of a lion to defend their country, who give their lives, who jump on grenades, who, they're sending them back to Gaza now? They're calling the reserves back there? They're freaking trying to kill our soldiers, dude. They're taking them in and taking them out, taking them in and taking them out. They're wearing them down. All they have to do is carpet bomb the whole freaking Gaza. You're going to wait for 20 years for them to give you a body part every other week? While they keep encroaching closer and tighter of you, and Trump ties your hands and says, okay, we can't do anything. It's maddening. It's maddening. I've said it 100 times, I'll say it 100 times again. After the 6-day war, after an unbelievable miracle, when every Arab nation attacked the land of Israel, and in 6 days we wiped them all off, the Rebbe said, if at that moment the heads of the state of Israel, the prime minister and the president would have stood up and said, thank you, God. God saved us. God won this war. Mashiach would have come on the spot. Game over. Instead, well, we had superior air force and we had superior army and we had the best technology. Come on. Seriously? It's helping you now? And I have the greatest love and respect for every single soldier in Israel who is out there. If you had any idea what's going on right now, all the October 7th files are coming out. I sat here the day after it happened and people screamed at me. I said this was an inside job. I've been on that border 15 times. I've done Mitzrayim with those soldiers. There's air balloons, there's blimps every few feet lining up. If a mouse moves near that fence, in 2 seconds, they've got 15 levels of commander. And it just so happened that day, the blimps weren't working, the cameras weren't working, the people who showed up, they told them not to come, don't worry, we've got everything covered, and no one was manning the whole equipment. And for 7 hours, tractors plowed through, and no one was able to do anything. If you see the evidence that's coming out right now, you would crap in your pants.
Where is it coming out?
Because there's now a head of the Shabbat in Israel.
Where is it? No, where did you see it?
In Israel news sources, if you look at news of what's going on in Israel, you got to look for things on YouTube. I don't know. It's a very, very deep rabbit hole that is not explainable within the context of what we're talking about. These are all front organizations. It's much deeper than that. But the point of the matter is, it's the same. They want us to believe that Jeffrey Epstein happened to kill himself.
He's still alive. I'm on that page, bro.
And hold on, let me get this straight. So you moved his cellmates out the day before. The people who were supposed to be watching the computer systems weren't on duty, fell asleep and left. And there's no and the cameras completely shut off. Like, come on.
No, they have the footage. There's 2 minutes missing.
Of course. The whole point is, I don't want to get into a whole political mess, but the reality of it is, our borders are what we have that keep us whole. The borders are not just, it's not just, borders don't just represent the borders of our country, they represent our borders. The land of Israel and every Jew and God are one. If they're able to do, regardless of how it happened, and they're able to enter into Israel, that means we're allowing negative energy to enter into us. I'm going to leave you guys with one little vort, which I find fascinating, which I was listening to a YouTube video the other day. I don't remember the rabbi's name, so I apologize. It was a Sephardi rabbi, and he was speaking about a very interesting concept. You know, when you said, what was that big storm that just hit Jamaica? Mama, Melissa, right?
Melissa, yeah.
Have you seen the videos of the eye?
It's so big. Why?
Have you ever watched the video of the eye of a hurricane? It's mind-boggling. In the eye of the hurricane, it's calm, it's warm, there's no chaos.
It's still too because all the wind.
It's still,
It's like very still.
huh?
I wrote out a few hurricanes.
Really?
Yeah, we have.
You were in
I've
the
been out in
eye?
the eye a few times.
You were in the eye? What hurricane?
I can't remember the names of them, but there were a few of them.
So-
I remember at least 3 hurricanes when we were in our old house. Remember our old house?
So there's
Whole window.
yeah. No, but I'm saying that there's that experience, but when you're up in a plane, like literally physically in the middle of the hole, you could have storms winds that are 200 miles an hour. Raging winds. And in that eye, it's perfectly calm. It's amazing. You have a hurricane, the eye of the hurricane. You know, when we were just in Crown Heights and we were dancing for Simchas Beis Shweva, we were out till 6 a.m. and my son Shiloh, Baruch Hashem, he's really he's got a big neshama. His body's a little bit smaller for some kids his size, but he's very strong inside. He's an amazing child. He should live and be well. So, but I brought him to the crazy dancing a few times, and he's got his glasses fell off. He got knocked down. It's chaos in there. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in the main area where they're dancing. There's people not in a mean way, but it's wild energy. It's chaos. So we were just there for Simchas Beis Shweva, and I was like, "Come with me to the middle." There was a bunch of guys I knew from Wilkes, and they're like, "Come with us." And he's like, "No way, I did that before." I'm like, "Trust me, let's just go." And he didn't want to go, but we convinced him to go. And we put a barrier around us, and we got us right into the middle, and we were dancing together. And I'm like, "Do you see something amazing? No one's banging us. No one's pushing us. It's like in the middle of all this chaos, it's like we were in the eye of the storm." The Baal Shem Tov says, anything you see, there's a message there. So we're in the eye of the storm. So the eye of the storm is this place that now more than ever, more than anything in the world, for our own good, we want to try to get to. Because I'm not saying this in a frightful way. I'm not saying this in a fearful way. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but shit's about to get pretty wild in the world, a lot more wild than it is right now. There's chaos going on in the world right now, and it's just starting to move.
We need to buy more guns.
No,
Yeah, guns
no,
in.
no.
Beryl says yes.
Hold on.
Just in case.
Listen. Let me just explain something. I carry a gun. I have a gun in my house. I carry a gun. If God forbid poops hits the fan, whether you have 2 guns or 500 guns or 100 rounds or 5,000 rounds is going to make no difference. If you think that you're going to be Rambo sitting on your roof, taking out armies, you're out of your mind.
That's why you need a flamethrower.
You're out of your mind. Yeah, that's why you need a tank, dude. Forget a flamethrower tank. So, huh? Yeah, I'm not saying not to protect yourself, but if the poop hits the fan, it's not helping you, bro. Maybe you could take out a couple zombies before the mass gets to you. The point of the matter is what we need to do is go to the middle of the storm. What is the middle of the storm? It's God. It's God saying, in this place, in your yechida of your soul, everything's calm. The world's chaos out there. And I'm not saying it doesn't affect you. It doesn't bother you. We're human beings. But it's not going to pull you and shake you. There's a midrash that says, right before Mashiach comes, the destructive angels will have the entire world on a giant rope. And they will be sitting there on one side of a rope or the other with all of their might shaking it. And only those who are holding tightly onto the rope will be okay. Everyone else will be flying all over the place. The rope is God. This is our connection to Hashem. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to tell you to make you religious. I'm telling you what works because I've tried every single different system. So this class I was listening was talking about there are certain mitzvot in the Torah. Every mitzvah has a different quality to it. It has a specific characteristic. One mitzvah maybe brings you long life. One mitzvah is helping with children. So there are 2 main mitzvahs in the Torah that brings you protection. Protection, the first one is Shabbos. The second one is the shofar. These 2 things, more than any other mitzvah, protect you. When the shofar sounds, the klipas just disappear. The shofar is a battle call. It's like they fall. They can't fight. It's like you're going into an army and you're sounding the battle call, and the enemy is peeing in their pants and they're running in the other direction. Anyone who's studied warfare knows part of the warfare it's psychological warfare. Bum bum bum. They're banging on drums or making noise or the Vikings are. They're not like, okay, you want to go to war? It's like it's so the shofar blast is this is what we do to our enemies. And the Shabbat. Shabbat is the biggest protection you have against the chaos of the outside world. To the point that when you're inside Shabbat, this is the eye of the storm. Because every day of the week represents a different energy, right? There's 6 emotional sefirot. You have Chesed, Gavor, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yisod, and then you have Malchus, which is Shabbat. Those are 6 directions of the world. North, south, east, west, up and down. Every day we're being moved. We may not realize it, but our souls are being pulled in multiple directions. And when Shabbat comes, the pulling stops, and you get a rest. The work, what Shabbat really is about, what has become in America and Israel and a lot of places in the world, is a day of rest means I don't have to go to the office. I don't have to work in my job. But Sunday is also that way. You don't have to work on Sunday either. Doesn't mean you don't have to work, but that's not what it's about. Because the work of a Jew isn't what you do for a living. It's not what you do on social media. The work of a Jew is what we call working in the tzimtzum. The tzimtzum is the cover, it's the shell that God put in the world that he hides himself behind. The true avoda, the true work, the true reason we're here, Judaism is not a religion. Religion is a dirty, stinky word. It's used for other religions. Judaism is how we reveal God in a world that conceals him.
It's not tribe.
How? What?
Are we a
Tribe?
tribe?
Yeah, it's a tribe. But it's really about how we reveal God in a world that conceals him. Meaning God's hiding. He's hiding behind in our hearts, in our brains, in our bodies, in the world outside. He's saying, here's how you find me. Here's your toolkit. You find me on your right side through good deeds and mitzvot and physical mitzvahs. You find me on your left side through davening, through prayer, and the middle through learning Torah. That's how you approach me. That's how you get to find me in the world. And all week long, you're working really hard to find God. And then on Shabbos, God comes along and he fills up your tank. Shabbos is like a mini Rosh Chodesh, a mini Rosh Hashanah. The amount, let's use a car, for example. If during the week you drive 3 miles, and then Friday afternoon you go to the gas station, you don't have a lot of gas you need to put in your tank. But if you drive hundreds of miles a week, you've got to fill up your tank. The more mitzvahs you do, the more Torah you study, the more Jews you help, the more you focus on bringing God into your life everywhere, not just when you're studying or in davening. The more energy you use to get closer to God, when Shabbat comes, the more energy he replenishes inside of you, and the better you feel, and the more you enjoy Shabbat, because now you're really serving the purpose of Shabbat. So, very interesting. This guy who was giving the shir spoke about that Shabbat, of course, being, as we said, a mitzvah that protects you. So the first time Amalek attacked the Jewish people, Amalek is the force of evil, and that's why no one could possibly make deals with terrorists, because a terrorist is from Amalek, and you don't negotiate. You can't do business with someone whose their entire being and focus is to wipe you off the face of the earth. You don't rehabilitate them. You don't sit with a viper that has poison inside and say, let's talk about this, because, maybe you shouldn't have venom. Maybe it's not those fangs, I think we should defang them. There's no conversations. 100%. 100%. So, right. So, Amalek, the first time Amalek attacked the Jewish people? Dov, the first time Amalek attacked the Jewish people? After what?
Right after the Chet HaEgel.
Huh?
Right after the golden calf.
Why did they attack the Jewish people?
They were at a point of weakness.
So Rabbi Yonatan Eibshitz, which is a
They
big
were vulnerable.
Gaon, a big makubal in Prague, if I'm not mistaken. He said the reason they attacked them.
Benny Mendelovich told us about this guy.
Yeah,
Jonathan
yeah. He's a big personality. Big personality. So he said the reason Amalek attacked the Jewish people is because some of the Jews weren't keeping Shabbat. Very few. Now understand the concept.
Just
It's not
one
a punishment.
Shabbos, and we don't need to-
We have to. We're not a different religion. We're not sitting. You do this, you're going to go to hell. These are not punishments. It's called a consequence. It's a cause and effect. Shabbat is likened to the sphere of Malchus. It's the divine energy. One of God's names is Kel Shaddai. So the name in Kabbalah, Kel Shaddai, Shaddai means when will it stop? Shaddai, it shall stop. What does it stop? Hashem is saying stop allowing the klipot, the negative energy, to suck from the sphere of Malchus, which is the name Kel Shaddai. Because when you leave an opening, it's like you're in a boxing match and you open up your ribs like this to your opponent. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to punch you in the ribs. So when the Jewish people violated Shabbat, God doesn't say you're being punished. There's a hole. There's an opening. And the negative energy went right inside of it. And he explains this is the concept when God gives us certain mitzvot that protect us. If we don't use the protection, if you go into you go to play football and there's a helmet available and you don't put it on your head and you get smashed and you get brain injury, that wasn't a punishment. That was a consequence of not putting your freaking helmet on. Yeah.
Yeah, the quarterback, the defenders all walking.
Correct. So there's Shabbat was set up as a protection field. Yes.
Can I say analogy too?
Sure, please. I love your analogies.
Like
Okay.
a motorcycle.
Yeah, 100%. A motorcycle helmet. If someone gets in a crash and they're not wearing a helmet and their head splits open like a coconut, that's not a punishment. You're wearing a helmet. So a Malik saw an opening and he went in and he grabbed. So a very interesting concept. The Vilna Gaon, you know how many psukim are in the Torah? Does anyone know how many psukim in the Torah? Before you ask ChatGPT, does anyone know? 5,845. So the Vilna Gaon says the 5,845 psukim in the Torah each represents a year of creation. I don't know why he stops at 5845 and doesn't go to 6,000, but every year is a pasuk, and that whatever that pasuk is defines the energy of that year. The pasuk of the year 5785, the first word was Hamas, and the whole pasuk was about. It's from.
Wait, so there's no more.
We're 57. No, we're 57. 70. We're 5786 right now. This is 5845.
This is
Like the Vilna Gaon, like that's how they were shit on.
That's an interesting question, right? Because why did he stop it there? I don't know. It didn't explain. But so the year 5785 last year starts with the pasuk of Hamas. And the whole pasuk is that their poison will enter into their venom and poison will rot at you.
I like the Vilna Gaon a lot. You like it? He's not.
Sure, it's not. He's a big Talmud Chacham, but
He's got some beef. He's
Yeah.
got some big beef with Chabad.
yeah, that's a whole different story.
I think he like,
So listen how crazy this is.
Nowadays,
Listen.
it would have been.
Up there, there's
I know we're getting ranty. By the way, I'm very impressed by you guys. An hour and a
honestly,
half.
the amount of concentration tonight.
This was freaking. Thank you. Really, I was impressed.
I
Like
put
you
some
guys.
Ritalin in the water. It worked.
It's like, this was impressive. Like you guys are sitting an hour and a half. Usually after about 5 minutes, it's like, all right, I heard enough for the night. You're leaving alone. So I just want to finish on this point, and then we can open up and talk and for bring whatever. But so he said, according to the Vilna Gaon, so the pasuk of this year, 5786, is a very cryptic pasuk that talks about God says, "In my secret treasure houses, I know what is there." So I don't know the exact pasuk, but it's related to the secret treasure houses. And the rabbi who's giving the shir said that he searched throughout the whole Gemara and he couldn't find anything talking about God's secret treasure houses. But he found one place in the Gemara that talked about God's secret treasure houses, and it was Shabbos. God said, Shabbat is my secret treasure house. The protection from the people around you is Shabbos. This is how you hold on and protect yourself from negative influences. I'm going to end with a crazy story. I've shared some of this with you guys. But we had a friend here who was living in Daytona. He was an Israeli guy. And he was from a moshav in Israel, in the south of Israel. He's a farmer. And he moved here, like a lot of Israelis, and became a businessman. And this is shocking, got into the souvenir and t-shirt business. And he was making money. He was selling to a lot of shops or whatever.
You're being sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly. And he was here for about 20 years. And about 5-6 years ago, he decided it was time. He wrote to the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, move back to Israel. And he moved back to Israel, and he went to work as a farmer. And he, through communication with the Rebbe in letters, he decided that the one mitzvah he's going to focus on in Israel is Shemitah. That he's going to teach the farmers, these simple farmers who are not religious people, the importance of Shemitah. Shemitah is Shabbat for the land. Shemitah is a big deal. Shabbos is once a week we say to God, I'm not going to work, and I trust you're going to, just like the manna, I trust you're going to take care of me anyways. I'm not going to use my phone. I'm not going to drive. This is my day to connect to you. Shemitah, imagine a farmer that works for 6 years, and God says, for an entire year, you can't touch your field. Don't touch it. No matter what's going on, don't touch it.
They just don't touch it.
Don't touch your field. You can't touch it. Leave it alone. It's Shabbos for. It's Shabbos for.
Can't even touch it.
You know, it's Shabbos for the land. You don't touch.
You're not even allowed to like do zero.
You're not allowed to. Yes, it's.
Is there
Let's
something
follow.
about it? Like you can get into
I don't know the details of it, but it's generally like Shabbos for the land.
No,
You
the
don't
land.
touch it.
No, one can farm it.
You don't touch it. You don't farm. You to leave it alone. So this guy had to go to secular farmers and try to convince them that some of them it was their crop year. It was the year they make all their money, not to touch their land. And they're like, "You're right." That's it. Like now you tell a Jew who works on Shabbos is his busiest. There's many stories about Jews who Saturday is their busiest day of and they stopped keeping it. They stopped working on that day and made more money. But now you tell someone a whole year, don't touch your field for an entire year. And he did this for several years. And he got several families to agree to do it. During October 7th, when they breached the wall, the moshav that he was working with was one of the moshavim that got attacked by Hamas. There was, I think, 5 or 6 families that he was able to convince out of a lot, dozens and dozens and dozens. Every single family who kept Shemitah, that cycle, no one went to their home. They literally walked by every single one of them. They walked by their doors and didn't touch their house. Now, you think Hamas really looked at the door and said, these people must keep Shemitah and we're not going to mess with them? They didn't. It's not an awareness. God protected their home. It doesn't mean 100%, exactly. It doesn't mean God said, oh, you didn't keep, you're being punished. God said, you now have protection. You have a freaking security system. You've got pit bulls. You've got a wall around your place that is protecting you. And every single one of them were untouched. Now, if you think that's a coincidence, well, I saw you some ice in Iceland.
Was this guy like one of the guys that keep this?
No. He was an older guy.
Oh.
So, Chevre, this year is the year of the treasure house. This is the year that Shabbat is more important than ever for us to keep, to share, friends, teach, whoever we can get people to start keeping. Even if you're keeping Shabbat, keep it a little better. Learn the halachas of Shabbat. I'm sure there's room for improvement all over the place. It's our protection. When we're protected, when we're connected, it's going back to Lech Lecha. When you're in a place of comfort with God, all the noise starts going away and you start getting clear signals of what to do in your life, of what you're supposed to be here for, of what your mission is, of who you are. You go on shidduchim and you start getting a gut feeling of who is your wife. You start getting a gut feeling of what you're supposed to do in this world, even maybe if it's not what you think you wanted to do. You feel God guiding you, but you got to get rid of the noise. And the noise is all that other stuff out there that is saying, my goal, the biggest goal of a Malek right now is to distract you from yourself. Is to prevent you from being you. Through telephones, shopping, gambling, drugs, alcohol, sports, you name it, thinking, sitting and overthinking. Everyone can feel it, eating. Everyone has a little thing that subsumes them, that takes over their life. And you become a slave to that thing. And God doesn't scream. It's a very still, soft voice. And he's talking to us. And if we're sensitive, we can hear it. Maybe we don't want to hear it because we don't want to maybe do what God's telling us to do. But this is the eye of the storm. This is Lech Lecha. This is how we find ourselves. It's really not up to us to figure out what we're going to do. It's up to us to figure out who we are and really become it. So Hashem should bless us. We should all do true Lech Lecha. We should find who we are. He should protect us. One good thing is we know how the story ends. We win. We win. Beis Hamikdash, Amalek's wiped out, Yerushalayim, everything wonderful. It's just a question of what it's going to look like until we get there. So let's hope that it's in a way of rachamim, of chesed, for us, for our families. God should avenge our blood and bring Mashiach now. God bless you. L'chaim.
Amen.